This primary season has been heated, to say the least, especially on social media. I know myself and probably a lot of you have been very open about our political opinions on Twitter and on Facebook, and sometimes that can get you into a little bit of trouble. You get into debates and arguments with the people who support the other candidates. Sometimes you launch attacks. So let's step back and see what effect all of this social media activism has actually had on people. What do they think about the candidates based on what their supporters do online? Is there actual harassment going on? Well, we've got some data from onlineharassmentdata.org who wanted to figure out which candidate supporters are most aggressive, most likely to harass others. And at the end, I'm going to have a little special tidbit for you. First of all, in terms of the amount of people that are participating in this, 50% of Americans have recently expressed an opinion on social media about a candidate for president. I mean, that's a lot when you consider that not everybody's even on social media. That's a very large percentage have at least once engaged in this sort of behavior. It's actually a little bit more common that you express a negative opinion than a positive opinion, but both are close to 50%. And there are consequences to doing this. 15% of all respondents said that they've unfriended someone on a social network because of an opinion they've expressed about the 2016 election. 90% of those people were unfriended because of Donald Trump. I'm kidding. But they did say that Hispanic Americans are most likely to unfriend people based on the social media activity. I don't know for sure, but I think that that could well be Trump related. Now, in terms of the supporters of each candidate, who's most aggressive? You will be shocked to find out that Donald Trump supporters are seen as the most aggressive. 57% of Americans say that Trump supporters are very aggressive and or threatening online. This is not like very active. This is very aggressive and or threatening. Almost 60%. And by the way, you might say, oh, these people are biased. They're talking about the Trump supporters when they like Hillary or they like Jeb Bush. Does anyone? Maybe somebody likes Jeb Bush. But look at this. 35% of Trump supporters believe that Trump supporters are very aggressive and or threatening online. That's more than 1/3 of his actual supporters are like, I'm really scared of the people that are around me and I'm feeling uncomfortable. So that's really interesting, of course. And you can go to the website that I listed earlier. They've got this awesome infographic breaking down tons more information there. But there is one special point that I want to focus on, having to do with the way that supporters of Bernie Sanders have been portrayed during this election. And I want to test to see whether or not the attempt to stereotype them has actually worked. So what is that stereotype? Well, since very early on, as soon as Bernie Sanders appeared to be competitive, his supporters have been portrayed as Bernie bros, as almost singularly white males, usually young, very liberal, who are mostly supporting Bernie Sanders because they hate that Hillary Clinton has a vagina, and they go online and they're aggressive and they harass people, and that's what they do. And that message has been pushed to varying degrees at various points, but you always circle back around to that eventually. So has that actually gotten out there past the bloggers, past the people in the news? Do regular Americans actually buy that shit? Well, 30% of Clinton supporters are viewed as very aggressive versus 16% of Sanders. That is good information if you're a Sanders viewer. So apparently the Bernie bro myth has not taken root amongst the regular American population the way that they wished it did, and that's my final judgment.